Gold has been down for 3 months in a row. Its longest losing streak in 4 years. Russia's dumping gold, Turkey's dumping gold. But why? The precious metals markets were spooked by Kevin Warsh being sworn in as the new Fed chair. Analysts are predicting that the recent sell-off in gold is a sign of more trouble to come. Today, we're going to look at why you might consider dumping your gold coin for the orange coin. This is Dante Coco Bitcoin Simply. Let's go. Hey, we've had thousands of you checking out our new launch, which is something huge we've been working on. We're almost done bugging you about it, but if you love Simply, you're going to love this. Sign up for the wait list. We don't want you to miss it. Late last week, the US 30-year treasuries reached their highest mark since 2007, as the bond market sold off. The markets are projecting high inflation for a long time. And the market that this is impacting the most right now, gold. You can see the sell-off in gold is highly correlated with the bond market sell-off. And the gold market is pricing in the fact that the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, is absolutely bearish for the gold market. Listen to what this analyst had to say about it.
So Kevin Warsh, of course, is going to go down in history as the biggest hit job on the market for precious metals. His nomination was revealed just hours prior to the market for precious metals crashing. He was perceived as the most hawkish of the four possible nominees by President Trump. And of course, the bullion banks and the big New York City banks would all have been consulted, would all have been informed of President Trump's decision prior to the market knowing about it. And whatever they did, I don't know. But, the timing of all of that activity and the slam down that occurred in terms of triggering all of the stop loss orders in the market for gold, the market for silver, the market for gold and silver mining shares.
The biggest hit job on the gold and silver markets of all time? That's a bold statement. And I think it's because Kevin Warsh has mentioned that his role as the lead of the federal chair or the United States Central Bank is not to manipulate markets anymore, to reduce the role of the Fed. And what that means is there won't be a steady, always on, always demand buyer for gold like there has been for the past 10 or 15 years. No one is buying real gold other than central banks at this point. The supply-demand data around gold is questionable at best, as all of the gold markets are paper markets now with Trust Me Bro certificates on top of it. What's even in Fort Knox anyway? And if that doesn't get you thinking about rotating from the gold coin to the orange coin, well, listen to this.
Are you on board with Bitcoin? I know Stan Druckenmiller is now on board. I think when we've talked about Bitcoin in the past, I think you had a perhaps a lesser view. I don't know if you have a different view today.
So Stan calls me his partner. I call him my boss. One of us is lying, but I'll let you figure out who's who in that, Andrew. So I'd say I think that Bitcoin does make sense as part of a portfolio in this environment where you have the most fundamental shift, for example, in monetary policy since Paul Volcker. This is a big shift that we're seeing under the Powell Fed, rightly or wrongly. So I'm not surprised in a period of dollar weakness where Bitcoin's doing what it's doing. And I'd also suggest that part of the move in Bitcoin is taking some of the bid away from gold. I think if Bitcoin never existed, gold would be rallying even more right now. But I guess if you're under 40, Bitcoin is your new gold.
Bitcoin is your new gold. This was said by the new Fed chair. And that's why some of the top analysts and thinkers think that now is the time to rotate out of gold into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the new digital gold. But don't just take it from me. Let's start with the always bullish that you want with your coffee in the morning with the most outlandish prediction about Bitcoin of all time, analyst Cathie Woods.
Bitcoin is starting to outperform gold again. Gold peaked January 28th, the day that Warsh was announced as the next Fed chairman, if Congress approves him. And he is slightly hawkish. So Bitcoin has been moving up relative to gold. That's interesting.
She spotted the trend like we're seeing now. The Bitcoin to gold ratio is flipping. But not just in the short term. Here's why Bitcoin is better than gold for the long term. Bitcoin is a breakthrough in that it represents a bearer asset in digital form. Bitcoin blends the fungibility, acceptability, divisibility, portability of the dollar, but also blends the element of gold, like a store of value. like the durability in that it's going to last in code and on the blockchain forever. And even better than gold, it has a fixed supply and not just a limited supply. This is why Bitcoin is superior technology.
The real problem with gold is that, unfortunately, it has to centralize. The problem is that gold can't achieve transaction finality without the help of a government or a central party, meaning that when gold was operating in a local economy and you can exchange the physical coins with your direct counterpart for your butcher, your local tailor, your grocer, whoever you were exchanging with, gold was great. When the world needed to scale an economy and the velocity of money larger than your local economy, gold failed us. Gold failed us because gold is just a bare physical metal. It does not carry a monetary network. What's the gold network? The gold network are human beings. And when you're trying to transact in an economy of billions of people globally, you are reliant on central parties, banks, governments. And it was for that reason that gold failed. And it failed in a way that you can't operate a truly free market when the concentrated supply is with those that you have to trust. And so that's fundamentally what Bitcoin solved, is that you are able to create a scarce bearer instrument and a network that can achieve finality in transactional settlement without the reliance on any government or central party.
And there's some of you thinking right now, well, yeah, all the things that Jack Mallers talked about, we can do with Poo Coin or Solana or Ethereum. Newsflash, you can't. Take a look at this chart. There's only one of these coins and projects that has no pre-mined supply that was given out to people other than you to pump their bags. And there's only one that has a fixed supply, which is Bitcoin, meaning you can't deflate or inflate the amount of assets or tokens. 21 million is 21 million, and we have to live with that reality and the fact that that is what's written in code. And that's why I believe that Mark Cuban was wrong if you watch my last episode. And it's not just me. This is even from Adam Back, one of the Bitcoin OGs and cypherpunks who was mentioned in the original Bitcoin white paper. Bitcoin is the new digital gold.
A reasonable analogy for Bitcoin's digital gold is physical gold and its market cap, which would see, a 1.5 million valuation if Bitcoin reached parity with that. I have a friendly bet with a fellow on Twitter from last year that Bitcoin could reach parity with gold by this end of this cycle, which is spring 2028. So about 2 years. We're about halfway through the 2-year Bitcoin halving cycle. So I'm much more in the Michael Saylor viewpoint that Bitcoin has a growing place in the world. Of course, it's short-term volatile, as I say. Short-term has periods of correlation with stock indexes, tech indexes, but in the bigger picture, you've got to bear in mind that it wasn't many, a couple of years ago that Bitcoin was a lot lower, like 10 times lower and things like that, right?
Bitcoin was 10 times lower not too long ago, what Adam Back just said. And so if that's the case, why would you ever sell it? Well, you don't have to. If you ever want to borrow against your Bitcoin that you've stacked up, don't sell it. Borrow against it using a firm like Ledn with institutional grade lending capabilities for Bitcoiners. Borrow up to 50% of the Bitcoin stack that you post onto their platform and get fiat into your account in less than 6 hours. The application takes less than just 2 minutes and there's no credit check. The rates are about half of what you could do for a credit card, and you can pay it off or top it up at any time with more Bitcoin or just pay it out completely. Use the link in the description to never sell your Bitcoin. Borrow against it. And if something was so valuable that was down 10 times lower than it is today not that long ago, then you want to make sure that you protect it. It's an asset that has more value than you can imagine right now for your future heirs and future generations. Well, get a coach to teach you how to do it the right way. That's why we partner with the Bitcoin Way, the leaders in Bitcoin-backed education, protection, and privacy. They'll teach you how to run your own node and how to secure your keys and your wealth for the future. Use the QR code, the link in the description, or go to thebitcoinaway.com/partner/Dante-Cook, and they'll hook you up. If you don't think Kevin Warsh will be bullish for the markets and for Bitcoin in general, you're crazy. It will be obvious in hindsight, but President Trump is clearly looking at Kevin Warsh as a means to boost the market. He's already talking about it.
So big, so important. I just turned on the television. I want to see how the stock market's doing today. Stock market's up 600 points. That means they like you. If they didn't like you, it's actually up to 50,702. So that's as of about 12 minutes ago. Now, who knows? But I think it can only go up. I think with you, it's only going to go up. That was a number that nobody thought was reachable during.
The bullish setup that we have underway right now is this. Every politician wants to get reelected and not have all of their work for the last 4 years wiped out. So what do? They try to appease and they try to please. That's bullish for Bitcoin in the next 2 years. Also, we have massive energy costs and high inflation potential, which means that we're going to have to either face the facts of high inflation that we have coming down the pipe or try to grow our way out with cutting rates. And that's what many believe that Kevin Warsh is going to do. And as we said before, the stocks have to keep going up. Listen to what James Lavish has to say.
I think we're going to get through this period. Again, first principles are that this administration wants to have peace going into the summer because we've got an election coming up. He doesn't want to lose the election in the midterms. So he wants to have stable pricing, gas prices down, stock market, hitting on all cylinders, and Bitcoin will benefit from all of that. And so that's my expectation for the end of this year. And then once we regain 100,000, I think the march to 125 is pretty expeditious, and then we bump around there for a little bit. But once we get through 125,000, it's blue skies until the next mental price point. A little bit of 150, a little bit of 200, 250. Who knows? You don't need $1 trillion to pour into Bitcoin to double the price.
Gold made its run. Digital gold is up next. Between 2028 and 2030, gold is going to be at market parity in terms of market cap with Bitcoin. Kathy Wood thinks it's going to be between $1 million to 1.5 million, and so does Adam Back. Once we clear 100,000, like James Lavish just said, well, we're off to the races. Right now, all the signals are pointing to a Bitcoin breakout. Bitcoin is the best horse in the race. What is your time horizon? If you want great returns, zoom out. Listen to two of the greatest investors and thinkers of all time, with Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, for how they're thinking about the current moment.
I once asked Warren Buffett, why don't more people copy your investment strategy? It's not that difficult to understand in principle. And he said, oh, Jeff, that's easy. My approach is a get rich slowly scheme. Yeah. People don't like those. Exactly. And so, but there's a lot of truth in that for everything, which is if you can think in terms of 7 years instead of 3 years, right, and you can defer gratification and think long term, that will give you a head start against all of your competitors, because most people can't do that.
Do you think the world would be more or less centralized in 7 years? Do you think it will be more digital or more physical? Do you think more people will be buying and storing physical gold than Bitcoin? I think not. What do you think? We'd love to hear your thoughts more regularly as you comment on more videos because you subscribed and got notifications when they drop. And if you do believe that Bitcoin will continue to be digital gold moving forward, then you want to acquire it any way, by any means possible. That's not just buying Bitcoin or working for it or earning Bitcoin, but also mining Bitcoin. But don't do it yourself. Work with the team at SAS Mining. Give them your money, they'll give you a miner. They'll keep it up, they'll keep it repaired, and they'll keep sats flowing straight to your wallet. It's a no-brainer. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.